My name is Gustavo Rimada. I was actually born in Mexico, Torreon, Coahuila, but moved when we were about 7 down to Indio, California, and did the whole teenage thing there in Indio. Got out of high school, moved to Los Angeles, and dropped out of art school, joined the Army, and lived in Alaska for 8 years. And finally moved back down here to pursue my art. Now I live in Orange County. Just it was easier to live here and pursue an art career. A lot of the people I do business with, clothing brands, and my printers, they're all here. So the reason I moved to Orange County was to be closer to all that, make business a lot easier. I'm working on the poster for the Portland Tattoo Convention coming up in October. I did the poster last year as well, and they really liked it. They liked this whole kind of Victorian Deco, Art Nouveau style, and they asked me to do it again. They want me to do it for like the next couple years, which is awesome. Should be done with this pretty soon, hopefully in the next week. I'm a big fan of artists like Alphonse Mucha, and just in general the Art Nouveau style, Deco, the 20s and 30s. So a lot of the imagery, the face is from a lot of the couple books that have like old references from like the Jazz Girls, or I don't know exactly what the exact name of them were, but they all had this kind of a look. I've always been heavily into that, the finger waves, that style of the Victorian look. So it's sort of what inspired it. I get inspiration from anything from like a lot of my work's really colorful. I like old vintage like pharmacy signs or whatever they may be, like the old always been like into the like early 1900s, like a lot of those real cool like orange and blue signs, or I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Also a lot of artists like I just said, Alphonse Mucha, Gustav Klimt, Frida Kahlo. They've always been a huge influence. So I still reference a lot of those old masters. At least I consider them masters. I went through a phase where everything was kind of lowbrow. Everything was new contemporary, or I don't know if I consider it surreal, because it's just more of some of them have a little bit of a surreal twist, but I guess I would say contemporary, new contemporary, like kind of an Art Nouveau, surreal-ish contemporary style. I mainly work with acrylic. When I was first starting out, my wife bought me a set of acrylics, but when I was younger, that's all I've ever worked with. In high school, I tried oil when I was younger. Don't think I really had the patience for it at the time. I still eventually want to get back into it, and I always love the look of an oil painting, but having a lot of fun with acrylic lately. And I use some gouache in certain paintings, but overall it's 100% acrylic all the time. My mom's always said that I've been interested in since I was a kid, you know, since I could pick up a pencil and draw, always drawing on the kitchen table, getting in trouble in school. That's her, you know, she's always told me that. As far as I can remember, like 5th grade, maybe a little earlier, I remember drawing like Disney characters for like kids in school. I mean, I don't know what they look like now, but they're probably terrible. But I remember always like having kids ask me to draw them stuff. And in middle school, I kind of took it a little bit serious. Did a couple of like extra summer school classes and stuff like that. But you know, I never really had anybody push me in art. My mom did to a certain point, but she was so busy working that didn't really have a big like push. I dropped out of art school, didn't know what I was doing at all. I just wanted to move to LA and move out of India where I was living. It wasn't really like oh my God, I want to pursue to be an animator or whatever. I just wanted to get the hell out of the desert. So I moved and then joined the military, was up there in Alaska, started, you know, hanging out with some tattoo artists, and my wife ended up buying me a nice kit of acrylic paints, and then that kind of started me working a little bit. I was trying to get into this tattoo shop to apprentice at the time, and she got me some art supplies so that I can, you know, show them that I can create. And I had a little show up there in some like cabin. The tattooer guys, they came out and they liked it, and then I ended up getting hired up there to work the desk. Wasn't really an apprentice, but just sort of working the counter. I guess you would call it kind of a shop bitch. And that's what got me into, you know, started seeing all those guys creating different designs every day, and they had Juxtaposed magazines there, they had High Fructose magazines, and I started seeing all the art that was coming out of Los Angeles. You know, I'd been out of the art game for so long at that point, and it moved me. Saw some amazing artwork that's still, you know, those artists are still around, they're crushing it. And made a decision to just go at it full time, you know, working full time during the day and working at the shop and painting all night. Eventually my wife got pregnant and I needed to make the move to California to try to make it happen, or else it was kind of like now or never. She's got a baby on the way, I gotta make it happen. And I did, luckily. First show was Ink and Iron, and it was a success. I mean, it's been a struggle. It's not a happy ending yet, but I've been working hard at it for the last 6 years and been able to sustain myself and my family, which is awesome. That's all I've ever wanted to do, is just make a living creating art. Well, when I got out of high school and then went up to the Art Institute of LA, and you know, didn't like it at all. Didn't like the structure of school, and never been a fan. Like I said before, I just wanted to get away. I dropped out and I was in the infantry for 3 years. I was stationed in Alaska, but after the Army, I worked a couple retail jobs. I never thought I could make a living doing art. You know, I never even crossed my mind. There was I say at least an 8-year break where I didn't do anything with art. I just, you know, I probably drew a couple friends some tattoos and doodled here and there, but it was never anything worth, you know, talking about or showing. And I worked a couple retail jobs. I did a year of firefighting, so I was always trying to chase that kind of adrenaline I had when I was in the military and trying to find that camaraderie with other people. And moved down here and then moved back to Alaska a few times, ended up coming back and forth, going back. You know, me and my wife were having some issues, and she was just my girlfriend at the time, but finally settled down in Alaska, and I worked security. I did all kinds of crazy jobs. You know, I just kept going from job to job, and until I stumbled into that tattoo shop, and you know, they welcomed me in and, you know, treated me like shit, but at the end of the day, I learned a lot. I learned what not to be like as an artist, or just in general. forms of art that interest me. I like sign painting. In Alaska, I did a few signs for some people for the front of their shops, you know, like cutouts, and I've always been a big admirer of pinstripers or artists that make a living making signs. I think that's awesome. Sculpting, I was heavily into ceramics and sculpting in high school. I haven't done it in forever, but it would actually be something really cool to get back into. I know what I like to use, and Treccles, brushes they're great. They're made here in America, and versus some of the other companies where their stuff's made in China. And I like that they keep their shape. They hold a lot of paint. They work for me. Art, I always try to go back to like some of the masters, some of the old artists. When I first started painting again, I was really heavily influenced by some of the new art that was going on today, but also seeing all these amazing paintings by artists like Olivia, Alberto Vargas, heavily into the pinup culture at the beginning. Like that's where sort of the love for painting women came from, was from seeing all these amazing paintings, a lot of that old advertisement kind of artwork. Kind of shows through me doing lettering and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of it. I guess another thing that's also inspiring though too is music, movies, anything like that. If I'm ever stuck with a painting or an idea, I'll drop everything and I'll go for a drive for like an hour. I don't even listen to a lot of music while I'm in the studio. I mainly watch documentaries or watch movies. And a lot of movies and a lot of music end up influencing my artwork. I go for a drive for an hour on the beach and just listen to certain albums and come back and be ready to paint. Sometimes it has nothing to do with visually seeing another artist. Just listening to the lyrics of a musician or watching someone act can be really inspiring.
What was the one you wanted to ask?
Oh, why so hot in here?